Hey guys, so I will be talking about moving to TypeScript in SQL Clone project. So in SQL Clone, so I want to tell you a story first. As you can guess, I haven't prepped, so I'm just doing it for the first time. So our story is that we have a web client. So what does it mean to have a web client? Anyone? It means JavaScript. Yes. So we started building our web client. It was primarily inspired by DPS project. So we started doing React and Redux stuff and all the cool things. And we had JavaScript. We started having more JavaScript. And then it kind of got into a point that we got more and more JavaScript. And at the end, we just gave up. And then we started looking into different things. We saw TypeScript. We looked at it. It was like, meh, looked great. But then we understood it completely, and then we got TypeScript. That's our story. And then the next slide I'm going to show you has some, irritating content in it. So if you are under, I'm not sure what the legal age in UK, if you're under like 18 or something that maybe you want to leave. JavaScript. So JavaScript has serious, weird stuff in it. I pulled this from, the place called Internet. It was scary. It's more scary. I have no idea what this even means. I mean, who? This is just like, some weird stuff. This is like the weirdest thing I have ever seen. I have never didn't knew about this. Like it's like Mad Max is not greater than Mad Min. Like what? So we had some primary motivations to move to TypeScript, and one of them was to preserve our sanity, which I didn't put it here. But the first one was that I think we wanted to have more compile time safety. We had issues that we were catching stuff on runtime. We saw some things that during the pull request someone was getting lucky to spot things in some places. So it was like we wanted to check some basic things at the compile time. It got also like really hard to follow along what we had in our context. So we are using basically a modular. We have a modular JavaScript project. And then once you get into a file, you didn't kind of know, what you have under your, hand there. So we wanted to make that available as well through some tooling, and we wanted to take advantage of some great, TypeScript features as well. Compile time safety. So TypeScript gives you, all the things that you would expect from a, compiled language. So you can even get things from React components as well. So at the top you can see that, it expects you to pass a number, and it gives you the error if you pass a string. And then the below one is something that we actually had an issue with. So someone actually typed it, that someone is me, licenses with C, where we were using it with S, and then someone spotted it during the code review. But we didn't get it, it didn't fail on the build. So. Some more stuff, for example, this is also really a good one, I think. In your React components, some things are, you need to pass them. They are required. So TypeScript also gives you those things as well, basically telling you that these are required, you need to pass them, otherwise it will not compile, which is good. So making the context available, it's also like you can get like, all the usual IntelliSense that you would expect from a compiled language. Visual Studio Code does a really good job on that. So yeah, it's all the things that you would expect, and same goes for the React components as well. You get all of the things that you can pass to a React component through the IntelliSense, which is good. So we wanted to take advantage of some TypeScript features. There are like a bunch of them, like type narrowing is a quite good one, but I want to highlight here like the strict null check feature of TypeScript. For example, you can't pass a null specifically to something which doesn't accept null explicitly. which is good. There are like a bunch of other things that you can take advantage of TypeScript. So yeah, the migration exit. So at the point that we wanted to move to TypeScript, we had like a lot of JavaScript code. So we didn't want to just spend a lot of time moving there and then not building the features for the users. But luckily we were using Webpack, and then that meant that we could move gradually. So inside the JavaScript module, you can still reference a module which is written in TypeScript. So it was a really good experience in terms of that. So we started converting stuff to TypeScript, where things like utility functions, JavaScript code that we had. So basically we were coming from the very lower level to the higher ones. So at the end of the experience, when we had like 100% TypeScript coverage, we moved our entry point to TypeScript, and we were done. But it took, we didn't spend time constantly on this, but it was like we were able to move gradually there. We also had to figure out tsconfig settings that we wanted to have. This is like a very basic one, but we specifically wanted to have strict null checks. For example, you could have things like explicit return types. You could require that, for example, and then it would compiler will give you an error if you don't specify your return type, for example. So those type of things are there. And the biggest frustration was, I think, finding out the typing. So we work with a lot of JavaScript modules on NPM, and not all of them are written in TypeScript. And some of them even provides typing, alongside with them, but some of them don't. For example, underscore is one of them. So we had to go and figure out their typings. But luckily, Microsoft has built a place to search the types, and then those are usually types that are being maintained under the definitely type repository, which has gazillions of things in it. But yeah, I think the experience is quite nice. And then when you have a problem, you can jump into the open source community and then talk to people there. The response rate is like quite high as well, so you get people talking to each other all the time there. We also started using Typelite. Typelite is something that you can just create a TypeScript interfaces based on your .NET types. So that gives you like automatically gives you, like, whenever you change your API contract, it would just put the TypeScript types in place for you. It worked out quite nicely at the beginning, where we wanted to just like bootstrap all our types. But now we have some problems there, especially that we don't allow you to pass like null and undefined, even if implicitly. So I think we are now at a point that we need to figure out, whenever you have a required attribute on it, property, that you need to make it nullable, kind of thing. Yeah, it's a nice way to try to bootstrap your thing, and then try to make it also. It's also possible to make it part of your build process as well, which was good. Cool. We took advantage of VS Code as well a lot, so it gives you all the things that you would expect from a nice code editor. TSLint is something that we are using as well to enforce the consistency throughout the code base. It has a nice integration with VS Code as well, so you could get like light bulbs along the way. And finally, yeah, I think the user experience is quite integrated with developer experience, in my opinion. So it's good, and that's all. Any questions so far? Cool, awesome.
Thanks.